Inside the Big Game continues. I am Gabe Morency. We're kicking it live in New Orleans. Countdown to kickoff continues on the SportsGrid radio and television network, Sirius XM, channel 159. We're getting fired up. Let's do this thing. And there's going to be some great shows on all day long on Fox, including the return of the Madden Cruiser, a Bayou adventure hosted by Coach Bill Belichick. The legend Coach Bill Belichick will be riding around the state of Louisiana and soaking in all the rich traditions of the state. And there's a long, obviously this is a football state as well. And we're joined by some heavy hitters right now. Constance Schwartz-Morini joins us. Fredanthony Smith will be producing this show. Guys, welcome to SportsGrid. Thanks a lot for taking the time to be with us.
Thanks for having us. This is a blast.
Thank you for having us here.
We love your set.
Well, you know what? I know you guys know a thing or two about sets. And, I can't even go through all the people that you represent and everything you've done and all the shows that you've done, the evolution of the black quarterback, and you represent and you work closely with Michael Strahan and so many others in the entertainment and sports industry. But tell us about how you got involved with the Madden Cruiser and put this together, and why was Bill Belichick the choice? Because, when Bill Belichick was coaching, he was the grumpiest dude ever. He was like the worst person with the media. He wore the hoodie, cut the sleeves off. But as you see now, when he's not coaching, his personality, he's one of the funniest guys in the business, isn't he?
He's been phenomenal. The way this all came about is, like you said, Michael Strahan and I are business partners. And Michael and I having the relationship at Fox Sports with Aaron Andrews and Kurt Menefee working there. The opportunity came for us to do basically by the hour leading into their pregame show. So when I reached out to my old friends at NFL Films, just letting them know we were going to do this, they said, "Do you have the show yet?" And I said, "We just literally made the decision to do this, so we'll come up with it." But we want.
So you didn't have the full concept. You said, "All right, we're going to produce a pregame show." But we don't know, what we're going to do with it. And you decided to Madden.
So, no, we didn't. So what happened, we just had the hour, but we said we want something that's going to really represent New Orleans, which is sports, music, culture, all of it. So the films guys, Ross Kedover, said, well, we might have something for you because Mike Madden reached out to Bill Belichick and said the family would love for you to use our dad's bus in New Orleans however you want. And we're like, well, we've got an hour. We love Coach. Who doesn't love Madden? And here you go. So that's how it all came together.
And Fred, Bill Belichick's a guy that has a ton of accomplishments, but it must have been an honor for him, and it must be an honor for you to be part of the Madden legacy right now and be part of this.
Well, I mean, the thing that was really interesting about this show, especially with Coach Belichick, as you mentioned, we're seeing his personality now this past year. It's as funny as he is, it's as charismatic as he is. But when you're doing a show like this and you're interviewing so many different people, you have to be an inquisitive person. You have to want to know answers, and you have to, be a good interviewer. And he was amazing. So he was amazing with the football players, but he was also amazing with the people that weren't football players. Like, we learned about the history of the turducken. So he's he's interviewing the guy who owns the restaurant where the turducken was created. He interviews
That's
voodoo,
awesome.
He interviews
cool.
He interviews a voodoo priestess and talks about voodoo in New Orleans. So seeing him, in that element was really cool as well. And, his personality, as you said, really shines through.
You can't be that great of a coach without being, what do they say? The smartest person in the room is the one listening, not talking?
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
And I guess that's Bill Belichick,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
Right. And the other thing is he really told some stories that nobody knew and will surprise the hell out of you. And I know we're sitting up here, but I do have to thank our friends at Everwonder and NFL Films because they co-produced this with us. And because we bought the hour, our teams, Doug DeLuca and Jose Diaz, we have great sponsors that came on board in Booking.com and Toyota. So it's really been a fun thing because if you look at, just where media sits right now and the importance that brands play, and this really was just the epitome of all these great people coming together.
No, this is really exciting. And, people are looking forward to the game, and it seems like the pregame shows are all day long. But I think people are really going to enjoy this. They're going to get the day started with this. And I just want to see the Madden Cruiser. I mean, you look at the tour buses that some of these bands tour on. They're basically they're condominiums.
Yeah.
The Madden Cruiser was just basically an old school Greyhound bus, right?
By the way, it's the same.
So that's all I want. That so
you get the tour. Michael Strahan and Coach and Roxy Diaz literally.
Can you give us a little sneak peek, a little hint of what the bus looks like on the inside?
It's the same carpet. It's the same booth. The same landline phone, which Howie has a landline phone in there. I don't know.
VHS in
That's
there.
pretty gangster, guys. That's pretty G, right? The John Madden had the landline. But it's like Rockford file style, old school.
Right.
And James Garner, of course, big Raider fan, right?
Pre-cell phones, a lot of this, amazing.
I would just say, as far as stories go, as Constance mentioned, there's just amazing stories that are being told. I mean, Tom Brady tells an amazing story about him and Coach Belichick the morning after the Super Bowl that they won here in New Orleans.
Wow.
Which is it's hilarious, but it's heartfelt, and it really goes to the beginning and origins of their relationship. So Tyrann Mathieu tells a great story.
Yeah, there's other players involved too.
Yeah.
So it's Bill Belichick, and as you stated, you speak to other people, not just in the football world, as you tour the state. But who are some of the other players that are involved in this as well?
Archie Manning, Ed Reed, Ty Law,
Tyrann Mathieu. I mean, Ed Reed talks about being home for the Blackout Bowl, the last time the Super Bowl was here in New Orleans, and the lights going out. Ty Law talks about winning that first Super Bowl with Coach Belichick here in New Orleans, Super Bowl 36. So there's a lot of football history, but there's also, we talk about food and music. They spend some time
so important
at Preservation Hall. As I mentioned, Coach Belichick interviews a voodoo priestess, which is hilarious. And then, we had to find a way to acknowledge the legacy of Hurricane Katrina as well. 20 years now since that tragedy. So Roxy Diaz, Coach Belichick, Kurt Menefee, and Michael, they go to the memorial and spend some time there as well and talk about the Saints and the role the Saints played in rebuilding the city. The
city's so strong and resilient, though, isn't it, from Hurricane Katrina?
Yeah.
And just so much rich history, and you feel it when you walk through the streets. And unfortunately, look at the tragedy on New Year's Eve. Yeah. And they pick themselves up and they just keep going. The Saints keep marching, right?
The Saints march on, and we acknowledge that a lot of us are from Los Angeles, so there's a moment where we acknowledge what's been going on out there. So it really does strike the right balance of celebration, but also honoring the tragedy that's
What's your
happened.
takeaway from New Orleans and Louisiana? Because it is something like I always say, and we've all been in a lot of cities, and you go to Super Bowls. You can always. Would you want to go back when you're not working?
1,000%.
Right. That's always
1,000%.
the question. And I was walking through the French Quarter, and I was thinking, man, I got to come back here when I'm allowed to go out and really get crazy here.
And have a few hurricanes.
This is without a doubt my favorite Super Bowl city, and it's just been so long since we've had a Super Bowl here.
Yeah.
Because you can walk everywhere. The food is amazing. People are friendly. The weather is great. Flew in on Sunday. It was 70 degrees. I was like, this is amazing. So the fact that it's finally back here in New Orleans is really cool also.
So we've only got about a minute and a half. I got to get a Super Bowl predictions from you guys. Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, they meet again. I'll start with you, Fred. Are the Kansas City Chiefs going to make history and become the first team to win 3 consecutive Super Bowls?
I'm going to tell you this. These teams played 2 years ago, and it was extremely close.
Oh, it was close. 3-point game.
It was extremely
close. The last
close.
3 Super Bowls have been all decided by exactly 3 points.
It was extremely close, and the Eagles didn't have Saquon Barkley 2 years ago. So, do the math.
All right, that's what he's saying. He doesn't want to say it, but he's saying it
I'm
right
just saying,
there.
do the math.
What about you, Constance? You have friends, or do you represent anybody? Who are you closer with on either team? Because I know you got connections.
We do. We don't have any players on the team, but we've worked with both of them in our evolution of the black quarterbacks. So I'm going to just have to say, may the best team win.
May the best team win. Yes.
We're getting trouble getting picks from people. You know what it is? Nobody. Let's just be real. Picking against Patrick Mahomes, so it's almost like betting against Superman, right?
Yeah, that's tough. That's tough, and that's why. Look, even with Saquon, the Eagles may have the better team, but the Chiefs probably have the best player.
So we've got about a minute left here. Constance, let everybody know once again about the show, when they can watch it.
You can watch it on Fox on Super Bowl Sunday at noon Eastern Time. It's in between Road to Super Bowl and starting the official pregame show for Fox Sports.
And Fred, final word.
Check it out. It's amazing. You'll enjoy the show, and it will get you ready for the Super Bowl Sunday and for the Chiefs and the Eagles. Hopefully it's a good game.
I really can't wait to see this. I want to see inside the bus. I want the tour of the state.
So special.
Because honestly, you guys went and did a lot of things that I couldn't do because we're sitting on Media Row. I want to check out the ghost tours in this city.
Oh, yeah. And you have to go to Café Du Monde for some coffee and a beignet.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Most important.
It was a pleasure meeting you guys.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I can't wait to see it on Sunday.
Thanks for having us.
12 Eastern, noon Eastern. Sunday on Fox. Countdown to the big game continues here in New Orleans on the SportsGrid Radio and Television Network, Sirius XM, Channel 159. Keep it locked here on the grid all week long.